White nationalism takes over the nation. And we will not stand idly by while the death toll continues to climb in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria, and in Somalia, throughout the Mideast. In all these countries, the indigenous populations are people of color living on their land. They have been inhabitants there for thousands of years. But oil is all that matters to the American robber baron. Oh. Killing millions means nothing to them. I want to wind up by saying, today is not a day to march. Today is a day to organize. Today is not a day to cry. Today is a day to organize. I want everybody here, if you don't know the person next to you, turn around, get their name, their number, their email address. I know you. Okay? We will be demonstrating and protesting, and you will be able to find those demonstrations and protests on Facebook, just like a lot of you found this one. Okay? Jacksonville Progressive Coalition. Yeah! Drop the charges! 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 Drop the charges!
All right, y'all. We just have two more speakers who are going to speak to some very particular issues. One thing that's been mentioned is that several of the folks who were arrested were leaders in the trade union movement here in Jacksonville, right? I want to make it very clear that the trade union movement of Jacksonville is going to defend the folks that are members of it, that take leadership in it, and that build the union movement in this city and in this country. We are not going to let union members down when they are brutalized like this and they are arrested. And if the Blue Sky Party decides to take on this case and decides not to drop the charges, they have officially taken on the trade union movement of Jacksonville.
That's right.
So for my next speaker, we're going to have Karen Morian, a leader in the trade union movement here in Jacksonville, as well as a founding member of the Jacksonville Progressive Coalition. She's going to give a few words about what's relevant for her.
Karen!
Yeah!
I know and love Connell and Dave as union brothers. I know and love Connell and Dave and Willie and Christina and Beckham as a member of the Jacksonville Progressive Coalition. The Jacksonville Progressive Coalition has been protesting in this city for 5 years peacefully. That is part of our core principles. But recently, our organization and other organizations around the city and around northern part of Florida have been hounded by provocateurs. They're known to police. They're known to police in Chicago, in Washington, in Alachua County, and JSO knows who they are. I want to call, on behalf of JPC, on the mayor's office and the JSO to open an immediate and transparent investigation into the police actions yesterday. I want to invite the state's attorney's office to review the abundance of video evidence, interview witnesses, and once they've done that analysis, I'm confident that they will find that they should drop all charges against all those charges.
Yeah!
And I want to ask the media to no longer only publish what JSO has reported to them.
Yeah!
eyewitnesses before creating a narrative. All of us here today believe very strongly in the First Amendment right of freedom of the press.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Your right to report. We also hope that you will help us report and support our right to freedom of speech, also guaranteed in the First Amendment. We call on you to work with us to guarantee the continuation of First Amendment rights protection for people in this city. And that concludes my official statement. I want to briefly make a personal statement. I stood next to the young people who were brutally arrested yesterday. I'm standing before you today. I've come straight from a coalition of labor union women meeting where we are awarding scholarship funds that we have raised to local young people so that they could attend college. I was able to fulfill that duty today because I got lucky. My friends were not so lucky. The arrests were arbitrary, in my opinion. I was threatened by a police officer that I was asking to inform his colleagues that Connell could not hear them and therefore could not comply with their orders because he could not hear them. As I was politely and non-aggressively asking him that, I was told to back way up. I was aggressing him. I dropped to my knees in front of him, arms open, and said, I am not acting aggressively. I am begging you. Please inform your colleagues that he cannot hear them, so he cannot comply. The officer refused to do so.
That's right.
Video! It's on video!
I stand before you today as someone who would have been number 6, but I got lucky.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to get lucky.
Amen.
We have rights in this country. We have laws in this city. And what we are asking for is for those to be respected by everyone, officials and citizens alike.
Yes.
That includes our protesters, which we insist upon. That includes counter-demonstrators, which we insist upon. And we beg JSO to go back to the days when they separated counter-protests from our protests. To help keep citizens employed, educated, tax-paying citizens of this city safe from arbitrary aggression. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank Karen for that. That was a really, really important perspective of what occurred during that event. The next folks I'm going to bring up are our final speakers. It is the family of the deaf man who was brutally beaten, Connell Crooms. His mother, Felicia Crooms, is going to be speaking the type of man that Connell is. And I'll say this as a good friend of his. The man has a lot of care in his heart for other people. He's a leader in the deaf community. There's a large deaf community in Jacksonville, and I hope people are very aware of that. It's a community that struggles every day to make sure the norms of society respect their disability. And we saw yesterday that was not respected. A disabled man was not given the rights he begged for, with blood coming out of his mouth, and he begged the JSO to understand that he was deaf and that he could not understand what they were telling him. This can't continue. This cannot continue. One thing I'm going to announce is we're building the coalition to demand the charges are dropped against the Hemming Park 5. We just received word that State Senator Audrey Gibson has joined in the call. Drop the charges and to investigate the JSO's targeting of protesters. Right?
JSO is not above
We
the law.
call. We call on any and all other politicians, locally, statewide, and nationally, if they have an ounce of courage, to defend the rights of free speech of disabled people and of protesters who want to make their voices heard.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
There we go. Thank you. So I'm going to call upon Felicia Crooms and the family of Connell Crooms to give us a brief
Justice Connell! We love Connell!
Take your time, babe.
Take your time.
I want to thank each and every one of you that have gathered here today from your respective organizations.